Hello, friends. Welcome to What's Going On. It is another beautiful Tuesday night. Thanks for being here. Everybody in the chat, everybody watching in Twitch land, we appreciate you. And if this is your first time watching the show, we're just going to have a conversation. I got some of my favorite people here. We're going to bring them out. They'll introduce themselves to you. And then we're just going to talk about what? I don't know. Somebody's going to tell a story. Then somebody else is going to tell a story. We're going to just see what comes up. We're going to follow threads. It's going to be super fun. And you're invited to be part of it. Anytime you got a question, a comment, throw it in the chat. Throw it up on screen. We'll talk about it. We love having you here. That's enough for me. So I'm going to bring everybody out, and they can introduce themselves. Please welcome to the show, Matt, Danielle, David, Rachel, and Aisling. Hey, friends, how are you?
Hello.
Hi.
So nice to see you.
Ditto.
Matt, why don't you start us off? Introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Matt Fear. I'm very excited to be on the show. I'm one of the co-founders and executive producers here on the channel. Happy to be part of this conversation tonight.
Oh, well, thanks for being here. Yeah, we are a meat-loving crew, L-Oaks. That is for sure. That is for sure. Rachel, what's up?
Hi. I'm also one of the executive producers, not a founder. I'm not a founder, but of the channel. I also have my own show every Wednesday at 9 when my computer lets me. And also, right now I'm just covered in sweat. That's kind of where I'm coming from.
Nice.
Also, I feel like I'm getting feedback from me, so I'm going to try with my earbuds and see if that is helpful.
Yeah. Nice. Aisling, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Ashling, sorry, I should have told you on the chat.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think you said welcome. Please introduce yourself to everybody and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Ashling. I was just lifeguarding and swimming today, and I just set a personal record for drying my hair without a hairdryer.
In terms of speed, nice.
Impressive.
Personal bests are always things to be celebrated.
Agreed.
Well, Ashling, thank you so much for being here. We can't wait to talk more. David, what's going on, my friend?
Not much. I'm David.
Somebody is typing very loudly. Who is that?
That's Rachel.
Oh, man, Rach, your sound is all over the place tonight. David, what's up?
Not much. I'm David.
That's it. Short, sweet, concise. Since David doesn't want to say it, David runs QAW, Quarantine Action Wrestling, on Thursday nights. And it's a really fun, a crazy good show that mixes live action, promos and songs and all sorts of crazy things with digital wrestling. And it is a sight to behold. It's truly something.
You said it better than I ever could have been, so thank you.
You're welcome. You can take any of that if you want for your media package.
I'll just watch this recording back to remember exactly what you said.
Write it down. Yeah.
Danielle, welcome to the show.
Thanks. I'm obviously Danielle. I am obviously a person who likes meat. I'm not a producer of any show here, and I'm also not a lifeguard. So I'm just here to hang out and have fun.
Danielle has no obligations at all. She's not obligated to the channel or to human life. Just hanging out, having a good time.
Although I will say, Ashley, when you mentioned you came from lifeguarding, I was that person I went to summer camp, like sleepaway camp. And until I went for like 3 or 4 years. So I went from like age 11 through like almost 15. And it wasn't until like the last year that I passed the basic swimming test to like go beyond the rope, which was so sad because like the 10-year-olds can do it. I can swim, just not well. And it's something that like always haunts me. When people are like, let's go swimming, I'm like, maybe.
Well, I can offer, like, after the show, I can offer you in-home swim lessons. All you need is a glass of water.
Wait, is this for real?
And you're one great instructor.
Maybe you can do it on the show and you can just show us. That's amazing. I love that.
Okay, step one.
I have a glass of water.
Glass of water. Breathing. You take a breath in. You take a breath out. When you're out of the water, you breathe in. When you're in the water, you breathe out. Try not to reverse those steps.
And we all walk past the rope now.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Cool.
There you go.
We're gonna have a triathlon after the show.
Ah, damn it.
Yeah.
Please no. No.
It's a mini one. It's like take 3 sips of water, you walk around your table, and then you take a nap.
Nice.
Yeah, it's the try is the most important part of the athlon.
Right.
I love that. That should be a shirt.
Do or do not athlon. There is no triathlon.
I'm just gonna write that on my shirt right now, like grab a marker. So the rest of this.
So then it's done. That's done.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, great. Like I said, this show's all about just telling stories and hanging out and seeing where we go. So, Matt, do you have a story that you'd like to share? Anything at all?
Oh man, I knew you were going to start with me. I was like, I'm in the worst position to be in this show. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I can talk about Danielle talked about summer camp. I can talk about summer camp.
Oh, let's do camp. Great.
I mean, yeah. I worked for 2 summers at a place called Camp Shane, Shane, not shame.
Did the kids call Camp Shane?
Everybody. Every time I say it, people are like, "Shame." I'm like, no, it's not shame. It's Shane, Shane, and it's a camp in the southern Catskill Mountains, and it was a fitness camp, like a weight loss camp. Is what it was. It was on the show Made. I don't know if you ever saw the show Made on MTV.
Yes.
Is that MAID?
Yes, that's MAID. It's about house workers, people that clean houses. No, so yeah, it's a weight loss camp, and I was like, I could shed a few pounds, and I'm gonna head out. And I was the theater instructor, so they did like musicals and stuff over the course of the summer, and I went and was in charge of all that. And all the other instructors were like soccer instructors, soccer, basketball.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is what differentiates a weight loss camp from a regular camp? Is it just the food? Because otherwise, I feel like during my regular camp, I was active all day long. I was doing all the things you just talked about. So
yeah, this is the food. Well, not necessarily. I mean, yes, the food was a major thing. They only fed the campers. I think it was something like it was less than 5,000 calories a day. Like it wasn't a lot.
less than 5,000.
Less than 5,000? Isn't like the average person supposed to consume like 2,000?
These were big kids.
I know.
Well, then maybe it's whatever it is.
Whatever
it
was under.
Whatever it was. It was under. I'm not a nutritionist. I don't know these things. Sorry. David, you would have loved this place.
Oh, totally.
They kicked our asses.
Damn.
Like, because it was all day. It was like
That's
Zumba classes and Taibo classes and
Wow.
like playing soccer, playing basketball, doing like activities, like out and like doing stuff.
Nice.
Right. And to get to the dining hall, you had to go down a hill, like that was like we would take the golf cart, we would turn the engine of the golf cart off and just coast down the hill. I mean, yeah, we were not safe. But then the thing was, is after every meal, what you had to do was walk back up that hill. So you had to walk up the hill after every meal. So you basically burned half the calories
you had to push the golf cart back up.
Yeah, we had to push the golf cart back up because we turned it off.
I was going to ask, did you walk up the hill unencumbered, or did they shackle each child to like a giant boulder that they then had to like drag up by
I'm
the
sure
ankles?
I'm sure that was probably in the brainstorming session of the camp. It didn't make the cut.
Did each bunk have like weigh-ins? Were you trying to like?
They met with
were they competing?
It wasn't necessarily a competition.
Okay, but did you have to compete against a skinny person's camp with like go-karts and like a trivia portion?
Like you would think, right? Like because I too saw meatballs, and that is like something that should happen, right?
Or a dance. Did you have to dance? Did you have a dance with an all-girls?
Yeah, did you invite a girls' camp over and you guys had to dance?
Everybody was there. It wasn't just a boys' camp. It was
when did Ben Stiller show up though?
When?
Hey, abolish the Senate. Thanks for tuning in.
Ben Stiller. Fun story about heavyweights is they actually the writers went to Camp Shane to kind of get inspiration to write heavyweights.
Oh wow.
Is that true?
100% true.
Do you feel like the morale of the children overall was good, or do you feel like the morale of the children overall was like bad, or did it vary?
Here's the thing, Rachel. That's a very good question because keep in mind that some of these kids were just dropped off. Some of these kids were told that they were going to spend their summer with their grandparents, and they got taken to a parking lot in a shopping mall in Paramus and dropped. And I'm there going, "Hey, hi, how you doing? We're going to have a great summer. Get on the bus."
Right. No, I'm not grandma.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now was this because, like, do you lie to your kid like that because they're ashamed about like being like going to fat camp, or just that they don't like to be away from home? Because I was also like a chicken. Like I did not do very well away from home my first year.
I would say it was a little column of A, little column A, little column B.
Yeah, as a parent, you then avoid having to tell your kid like we're dropping you off at this. Yeah. Like one, you're going to a camp for the summer, and two, you're fat.
But I mean, the cool thing was though is they show up. They might not be in the best like state of mind, but by the time they leave, they don't want to go.
Sure.
Right. Like they
home to the people who lied to them.
It's really, maybe that's what it was. I like to think it has something to do with my experience. In
of course, yes.
But it was. I mean,
you specifically
don't want to go
on every one of these young souls.
Everyone.
Yeah.
So you're saying they didn't want to go because they didn't want to leave because you were there.
That's not what I was saying, but yeah, I was definitely part of it.
Was there?
It was great. Go ahead.
I was going to say, was there a kid? You worked there for 2 summers. Was there like a kid who you're like, we legit changed that kid's life? You know what I mean? Like, so was there a kid who came in sort of overweight? And I know this from experience. With that comes sometimes a sense of not having the best morale about yourself or whatever. So. Yeah. Camp can be a real, change for people because they, for the first time, maybe they win a game or they hit a home run or they do something, they kiss a girl, whatever it is. I
mean, I was putting people on stage doing shows that like they wouldn't get cast at their high schools, right? Or or their middle schools or whatever age group. Like I was getting them up on stage and they were having a great time.
Also, Matt's being humble. At this weight loss camp, he mentored a young Dwayne Johnson. And look at him now.
And look at him now. He's so great. There was a guy I worked with there called, his name was Shay, and he was from northern Canada, like up like, I don't know exactly, like north of Alaska a little bit, right? And he had gone to Camp Shane for a very long time, was a very overweight dude. And by the time I had met him, he was a staff member. And he had really kind of turned himself around. and he was one of the best people there. And he actually gave me the idea for the name of the show that I do on the channel, Hello World.
Oh,
He would wake up every morning and scream that from his bunk. He would just walk out onto the porch of his bunk and be like, "Hello world."
aw. I love
Was that
that.
how the rest of, was that how
sounds
the
Like
rest
you were
of the
good at
camp
programming, Ben.
Yeah.
was that Ashling?
I was like, I guess I was making a joke about like running programs versus programming. Never mind. Some of the people in the chat are going to get it.
Abolish the Senate loves it.
Yeah, yeah.
Matt, are we ever gonna book Shay for Hello World?
I don't know. I haven't talked to him in a very long time. It's one of those things that you just kind of fall out of touch with people.
Yeah.
But I actually met my wife at this camp. So
Aw,
yeah, we were both staff members the second summer I worked there.
nice.
I need to work at a camp.
I know.
I mean, it's
That's
a bunch of adults that are around kids all day and then get to go out to a bar every night, and it is a horny time. That is one thing that
Horny time.
that is one thing that the TV shows Wet Hot American Summer and Meatballs on. It's very accurate.
It's not. There's no written rule about it, but I feel like once you turn like 25 up, you can't work at a camp anymore. Like you can work like in administration, but like you can't. There's no like 30-year-old counselor, right?
You gotta be horny somewhere else.
Yeah, upper
Yeah.
staff.
Yeah.
First of all, Ben, I feel like I could pass for 25, so nobody has to know.
This is a great idea for a rom-com.
Never been kissed to.
Yeah, never been kissed to back to
Never
camp.
been. Yeah, never been camped.
Starring me.
Wait, was there a camp in the first one?
No,
Camp in the first one.
I don't know how in this scenario Rachel doesn't accidentally fall for a 15-year-old who's lying about being 20.
Yeah.
Oh no! Yeah, there you go.
You're saying this is going to turn into like that Nicole Kidman movie where that. Have you guys seen that Nicole
to
Kidman?
die for. That's a
Titanic?
great.
No,
movie.
not that one.
Oh.
The other one where her husband dies and a 10-year-old boy says that he's her reincarnated husband.
Oh,
others.
Yeah, that's Kramer versus Kramer.
No. But Danielle's right. It would only lead to
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you
violence.
can run a camp. You just can't be a counselor. Exactly. You can run a camp all you want, and then you hire all the thirsty camp counselors.
And see, that was the
still
best
feels
part.
like so much work because to hire a camp counselor, you want somebody who's young but a little older. And if they're all horny, I still don't see how this is going to end well.
Yeah. I just don't know why that's coming up on a resume.
I went to a born again Christian camp, so there was no sex at all.
But a lot of horniness.
Oh, see, I had my first kiss when I was at a Baptist camp when I was a kid. Yeah.
Huh. Do you ever, Matt? Do you ever find yourself missing your time at this camp and being like Shane, come back, Shane?
Every day.
Okay.
No, it was definitely one of those things where I spent 2 summers there, and that's plenty.
Sure.
Like, that's plenty.
Okay, so yeah, Tina's boyfriend was a counselor. He was the head counselor, and he would throw parties for the counselors. That's not And then
Yikes.
you're just drinking with a bunch of teenagers, and that's not good.
Yeah.
Oh, did the camp have any good ghost stories?
Ooh.
The camp I went to as a kid had some real we had the one-armed hobo was the camp ghost. Was the one-armed hobo.
I feel like I could get away from a one-armed hobo. Maybe not, but
At
like
12, at
It's
12,
got 2 good legs.
he does have 2 good legs. Yeah, they're real strong. Real strong.
doesn't
He's
need
got
his,
sprinter's
doesn't need his,
legs.
Yeah. Nearly armless Nick.
So Matt tells us a story about changing lives, about being a counselor at camp, and all that, and the idea that camp is just the time to transform and to try new stuff and to maybe shed some pounds and get tricked by your parents into being there. So Rachel, with all that in your mind, transformation, getting tricked by your parents, first experiences, new experiences, anything like that. What do you got for us?
Sure. So that reminds me of the story I was going to tell anyway. How convenient for me.
Wow.
Insane.
When I think of new experiences, I think of this. This is going to get a little dirty. Are you guys ready?
All right, you've been warned, everybody.
Sure.
Okay, so
NSFW.
So
put those earmuffs on the kids.
NSFW. There has been a debate on Twitter, which is about whether a particular character has engaged in a particular action and whether they enjoy a particular action. And that character is Batman, and that action is oral sex. And basically, it all stemmed from. This is a huge debate online. It's probably the main discourse of the last 2 days. And basically, it all started when a showrunner for the show Harley Quinn, which I guess is like a cartoon about like the bad guys. That's like very like that's very
where
like.
Can I just point out where they let them do anything?
That
show horrendous things happen. Batman does horrendous things. They don't care about. They seemingly don't care about like the timeline or whatever at all until Rachel.
Until there's a scene that they have planned where Batman is transporting oral sex, if you will, to Catwoman. And the executive producer said, you can't. Is the feedback okay? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, it's a little feedback, but you go ahead.
Is it better or worse with the microphone?
It seems worse now.
Do you have the show on a different device? Are you watching the show on a different device? Because I know sometimes you have your phone on.
I am, but does it sound better now?
It does sound better.
Yes.
Yeah, I think there's like some components of my computer that are like too close to each other.
Like you said, yes, delivery truck of oral. He was delivering oral sex. Yes.
Yeah, so he was vanning. He had a U-Haul full of oral sex, and the executive producer
He's
said,
a lesbian.
lesbians, of course, are the prime users of the U-Haul van service. But the executive producer said that that Batman cannot be shown delivering oral sex because that's not what heroes do. And they're like, you don't think heroes, fly a plane for, they don't deliver oral sex? And the executive says, by heroes we mean guys we make toys out of cannot be making oral sex. Cannot be making the oral sex. And so this caused Twitter to absolutely explode for at least 50 hours. Everyone had people were listing the different actors. There was all these lists that were like Michael Keaton, yes, he would. Val Kilmer's Batman, only if you paid him. And so everyone was just making their own decisions about which iterations of Batman would be for or against oral sex.
I can't remember who, but one of our friends put up the picture of Nicolas Cage when he was stumping for Superman. And it's like the long-haired, just sleazy Nicolas Cage Superman. And they're like, this guy definitely eats pussy.
You know who wouldn't is Christian Bale. He's the most likely one to not do it, I think.
No, he would just murder them with a chainsaw.
Exactly. I do one of two things.
And I think Twitter is sometimes terrible. And sometimes it makes people sort of the victim of their own sort of flippant statement. You say whatever, there's no good sci-fi movies anymore, and people get mad and they become the main character. But this for me, this was primo discourse content. I'm nobody's getting hurt. We're all just talking about Batman eating pussy. This is the life. This is what Twitter should be all the time. So it's a great debate to have, and it's also great that this is the debate we're having.
It's interesting. Abolish the Senate wonders if they meant sex in general, because there was a Twitter fracas years ago when he had full-on P and V with Catwoman in the comics, and it was a big thing. But yeah, it shouldn't be a big thing. It should be something celebrated. Of course, he should do that. He's a hero, right?
And by that he means deliver oral sex.
Yes, yes.
To move it from point A to point B.
He should deliver it.
You read that correctly. You read that correctly, Ben. PIV being P and V, but I read it as PIV, and I really like. I love the idea. Like, dude, I had full PIV last night.
It's a comic sound effect.
Yeah, right.
I had to count. I had to say it out in my head. I was like, all right, I got where this is coming from.
Got some PIV.
Oh, can I add one more thing? Can I add one more thing to my story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
The other thing that's amazing about this story is that somebody like brought up the fact that apparently it's part of the lore. It was part of an interview where Adam West and Frank Gorshin, who played like Batman and Riddler in the original, there's this whole anecdote, I think, from one of their memoirs where they accidentally stumble onto an orgy. And their reaction to the orgy is to go into character as Batman and the Riddler, and subsequently they're kicked out of the orgy, which I think is just like the wrong choice from those orgy goers. You could have had a great time.
But I mean, you're there for an orgy. Like, you go to an orgy, and then these two assholes come in pretending to be Batman and the Riddler, and you're like, "Fuck you! I'm trying to get laid over here."
Yeah, are you making fun of us?
Like, what if the Riddler was like, riddle me this, what gets on its knees and pleasures this one, right? And like, it's like...
You know what I imagine you saying? The Riddler doing that, and I just imagine the person walking away. Like, as he's doing it, just someone's like...
Yeah, fuck off. Yeah.
But also, like, right behind that person, like, one person, like, leaves, and then, like, one person comes forward. You're like, I'm sorry, could you say that again?
Like Scarecrow.
Now, I will say this. The Riddler from Harley Quinn, the cartoon, could get it in an orgy, I think.
Really? I'm going to Google this.
Yeah. Google.
The Riddler does say, riddle me this, Lisa, yes. Yeah, riddle me this, where does this tongue go?
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, see?
He's got them arms.
Are we saying he's hot?
Yeah, the Riddler in the Harley Quinn.
Well, I have to look this up now because I don't watch that.
And throw it up on screen so everybody can see it. If somebody has it there, let's see a picture of him.
Yeah.
And then let's also see a picture of the old school Riddler and see if we would fuck him too. Because
every what's going on goes in the same beats. Would we fuck this Riddler?
Well, because I feel like Adam West, like if they were down to orgy, Adam West as Batman would be really funny in an orgy, like in that voice, like doing his voice. I would think it would be great. Please go through all the Riddlers. So we're being asked to do.
Those Riddlers.
Here we go.
Yeah, look at those arms. Damn.
Ooh.
Yeah, but he doesn't. He's got Ken genitals.
But I mean, he's
Do we
got.
know?
Look at the way he wears the tie. Like he's got the shirt open and the loose tie. Like he's casual.
Plus, he's a dean.
Which I think somebody said that is it the dean? Oh yeah, he's played by the dean from Community.
Oh, Jim Rash.
Yeah.
Oh no.
That's not sexy.
Jim Rash does not have a sexy voice.
Danielle and I just both lost our boners. Like,
okay. Well, here, let's see if we can get it back from actual. Let's see, Adam West Batman, right? What's his name?
Yeah, 1960s Riddler. Just put
Let's do Adam
1960s
West.
Riddler.
Frank Gorshin.
Frank Gorshin, yeah. Yeah, he's
no
okay
way.
looking.
Absolutely not.
I do him. Are you kidding?
Absolutely not.
What about this guy in the Frank Gorshin costume? Would you?
Actually, so I was looking at these pictures too. Pan down the whole screen a little bit, and there should be a picture of him where I think he's actually there, the one in the hat. Yeah, he looks kind of hot there.
He looks like
he could
somebody had a
transport
kiss in the
sex.
face.
What's that, Ashley?
He could transport sex to me.
He's got a little Willem Dafoe thing going on there. Is it just me?
What about What about Vincent Price's Egghead?
No.
No.
All right, these are
Okay,
these are all people that I feel like I would just want to kick in the face.
Yeah.
So there's not a single
that.
1960s Batman person that you would have sex with, Danielle?
There's not a single 1960s Riddler that I would have sex with.
Well, that's true.
Geez, standards much.
I feel like the guy who played Robin was kind of hot back in the day.
Burt Ward.
Yeah.
Burt
Yeah.
Ward.
I don't know whether he actually was or whether that's just my mind remembering that I had a Robin thing, maybe. But I'm okay with that. Either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, his name's the Boy Wonder. I don't know.
Right there. There you go.
There you go.
There you
Yeah,
go. All day.
ogling orgasms.
Whew, I would be his camp counselor. No.
Oh my!
This-
Look, nobody looks good. Nobody looks good in a freeze frame.
True.
show me the black and white picture of him. Show me that little black and white headshot of him. There we go. Yeah. No. Put the mask back on. Oh,
There he is.
that's him
That's
today.
my
That's him
sex
today.
machine.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, this was a nice thirsty detour into
That was
Batman. It's funny because we chose what is arguably the least sexy of all the Batman eras to be thirsty about. I feel like there are hotter Batman and villains, but we went the OG, and I liked it.
Here's the thing with me is like I like guys who don't take themselves too seriously, right? I like guys who have a sense of humor, and as a series, the 60s Batman is, to me, like the version of Batman that has a sense of humor about itself. It's not like this like new like Christopher Nolan like fash Batman that's like bad politics and everyone's like, this is the most serious thing you've ever watched, and I'm like, I can't fuck you because we're not having a good time.
Right.
No, Batman in the 60s knew what it was better than many of shows on today even. Like, it knew exactly what tone it was and what it was trying to do, and it didn't pretend to be anything other than that.
Christian Bale Batman is like,
Are you enjoying this?
checking in every 30 seconds.
Is that okay?
Oh boy.
Did you
all right,
come?
Danielle,
I know I did.
Do you want to go get pizza after this?
I just gotta take a shower.
I'm going to call my mom real quick. Oh, no, I can't. I'm Batman. She died.
Oh, sheets.
He always brings that up after sex, so and that's why he's crying.
Yeah.
That's why I'm crying.
All right, the parents are dead.
It's like the only time you can forget is when he's having sex, but like the second he stops having sex, he instantly remembers.
Honestly, I would like to just real quick revisit Vincent Price's Egghead.
Oh,
I mean,
Jesus.
come on. I would.
Okay, see,
Okay, sorry.
No, actually, you were going to say something there, and I want to hear it.
I was just gonna say, like, for me at least, the thing about Vincent Price is that he could do me no matter what he's playing.
Because it's Vincent Price, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, do you like this? It's like a Vincent Price is such a weird. He's got such a weird affectation.
I love Eric Giordano's.
Where's the clitoris?
Where is it?
Where is it?
I just imagine like Alfred walking in with like some Gatorade.
Oh boy, that's great.
This is Alfred. He'll drive you home.
I'm like a goodie bag. Did you know that this is a complete
A-Rod, right?
Well, I was just thinking that, no, not A-Rod, Derek Jeter used to do it. When Derek Jeter would have one-night stands, he'd have a car waiting behind the hotel, with a goodie bag of like signed baseball cards and like a handwritten thank you note.
Like a fruit basket. It's like an edible arrangement.
I mean, to be honest, I did the same thing in
I'm sure
college.
there were other things in there too, but I mean, like, I just look at thank you note and like a goodie bag.
Yeah, see, I feel like that's something that
Ashley, go ahead.
I feel like that's something that non-celebrities could do well to pick up on as well. Like, just make some cards of yourself and give them to people as a little souvenir after hookups.
My goodie bags would suck. It would be like a Game Boy cartridge. I lost the Game Boy. You have the game.
This is true. David did give me his PlayStation 2 like 3 years ago.
I did.
We did not hook up though. It was just what he normally gives.
If somebody gave me an edible arrangement after sex, that'd be amazing. I would really appreciate that.
But not from edible arrangements. It'd be one I made myself. So it would just be, skewered fruits.
Yeah. See, I imagine like edible underwear that you just cut into like shapes by eating it and just putting it in like a bag and been like, here.
Edible underwear doesn't taste good. Oh, I want it to.
It
says it's edible, but it's really just like palatable. It's not really edible. It's like
if you happen to ingest this, you won't die, but you don't want it.
It's like Play-Doh.
Nobody's like, you know what I could go for? Some of that edible underwear. You got a real
delivery places that deliver edible underwear.
Tina, I don't know why you're refraining from making a joke. None of us are refraining from making dirty jokes.
Also, you can't say I'm refraining from making a dirty joke and then say "so hard" in all caps.
I've never in real life seen edible underwear, but in my mind, I just always imagined it was like a fruit roll up that they just cut into underwear form. Is that not what it is? Because it should
basically, but it's more like it's more waxy than that.
Okay.
At least it was. I'm not like a connoisseur.
Yeah. What's your favorite brand?
My
favorite flavor is key lime.
Key lime.
That'd be amazing.
Ooh, banana bread.
Banana bread.
A gourmet line of
Not bad.
Lobster bisque.
Ooh.
You know what they should do? You know how they have those like everything is cake videos? They should make a cake that looks like edible underwear, so that you think it's going to be nasty old edible underwear, but it's actually a cake. But it's cake.
But then you try and put it on and it just gets everywhere.
Which is fine. It's fine.
Oh man. Yeah.
Should we do some edible underwear tasting videos where we just like
tell you what I'm in?
All right, Aisling, do you have a story for us? We've got so many things to choose from. So anything you'd like to share with us?
So many things to choose from. I mean, the
don't breathe.
The story about the
We're going to the deep end.
Do I get their badge?
This is how you don't drown.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. The fact that all of us are not drowning right now is a testament to all of our collective skill at not drowning.
That's very true.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like how long has 2MB been going on?
Almost a year.
About a year.
We've not drowned for over a year.
Yeah, over 365 days since the last non-existent drowning incident. That's
we're pushing it.
I think Ben's drowning right
now.
Damn, I guess I gotta go into eulogy mode then.
Yeah. What a great story. Ben died.
Yeah, so I guess if we're going off of Matt's theater camp story, I could talk about my first time like having on stage experience, really like professional on stage experience at age 12, when I was like at a time when I had like pretty much zero theater experience, but my brother was doing a lot of professional theater, and so I nepotismed my way into a part that was written specifically for a production of Henrik Ibsen's Ghosts. Now, the play Ghosts, for those of you who haven't seen it, doesn't have any children, like actual children in it, and it doesn't have any ghosts in it, but the director of this play decided it would be fun to have the character of Oswald be followed around by a version of his younger self doing like innocent childlike things. And so because I was available, I was chosen for that role.
Ooh.
And
Because I was
so
available. That's the best way to get cast for something. Are you available? Yes, I am.
You're in.
yeah,
right
pretty
this
much. I looked plausibly like a younger version of the guy who was playing Oswald.
Yeah.
And so the rehearsal stuff was all fun. There was no speaking that I had to do. I was just walking around the stage, playing with toys and stuff, and eating crackers.
That play sounds terrible.
While the play was going on around you, you were just going off around and doing these
Yeah.
things, right?
Because I was basically a ghost of the past.
What was that like for you as like like you said you were 12? That had to have been the weirdest experience for you.
Well, I mean, the rehearsals, it was just like, I kind of grew up in the theater because my brother was a pro. And so, like, all of the rehearsal stuff, it just felt pretty familiar, except I was the one on the stage, being like very brute force, taught to do some basic acting stuff. And then there was like the opening night, and I basically, because like I'd grown up backstage and stuff, I didn't feel any nervousness about it. I probably should have, because I probably should have felt like a little bit more, at least wary or cautious, because over the course of the rehearsals and weeks and stuff, it started out as a little tiny red dot on my shoulder. And every few days it would start bleeding, and I'd put some Band-Aids on it. And it would grow a little bit bigger, and I'd put bigger Band-Aids on it. Anyways, opening night of the rehearsal, the whole thing splits open, and I'm like gushing blood out my shoulder onto the white turtleneck that I was wearing to play young Oswald.
This was during the show?
Yeah, this was like during the show.
So you look like a murdered ghost?
Pretty much. And like, there's no textual reason why Oswald as a kid would be like bleeding out of his shoulder like that. He dies at the end of the play, but like,
I was gonna say, Ashling, let's
Spoilers.
There's no textual reason for there. There's no textual reason for there to be a child on stage at all, right?
Yeah. And so, like, I'm basically just got to go through the motions with blood dripping off my shoulders, and whatever the people thought of it on opening night, they thought of it. It's like a few days later, I went to the dermatologist, and they snipped the thing off my shoulder, and I got to see them electrocauterize it by shooting an electric current into my skin for the first time. And that stuff's all really fun when you're 12 years old.
Oh.
And you said the first time?
What's that?
You said you were electric cauterized for the first time. Does that imply more time?
Yeah, once Ashlyn got back to the theater, the director was like, "We love the blood. We need it every night."
Yeah. Basically, they're just like, you need to grow another one of those little things on your shoulders that it will split open the next night. It's like, once it makes it into the theater reviews, we can't disappoint our audience.
She suffered for her pain, okay, for her art.
The audience is outside the curtain, just blood. What is this turned into?
I heard they got a blood ghost in this show.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty much.
I love this idea that all these like goths and like punks are like, "Hey, are you gonna go to the fucking like bleeding ghost show?" And like it's totally like huge success.
I'm just picturing one of them on the phone, like, "You gotta get here, dude. You gotta get to the theater house. There's a blood ghost."
Yeah, see, that's why I never like really took up theater formally after that, because like once you've done that, it's all downhill from there.
Yeah.
Neurotic Fodder, what's going on? Thanks for raiding. Awesome.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
Hey.
I'm a blood ghosts.
Welcome to the blood ghost. Oh man.
That's
I also grew up as a child actor because my mom was a professional actress in the New York Public Theater, and I started on stage because they needed a kid to curse out a grown up in a play. I got to come in and say "fuck you, you fucking cocksucker," and they were like, "We'll pay you $50 a show to come on stage and say that." And I was like, "This is the best job I've ever had in my life. I never want to do anything else ever."
Right.
Damn. Yeah, I don't know how I'd like even like stay in entertainment at all if I'd gotten the chance to do that as a kid. Everything would be a disappointment after that.
That was Ben's. They were doing Usual Suspects Junior, the stage show. And he was Benicio del Toro.
I know. I do it. I know this kid who's got a great Joe Pesci.
It is like funny. It is funny how people start. Like I'll be reading Wikipedia at 2 a.m, and I'll be reading, who's the guy from The Thing and Escape from New York?
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell.
And apparently Kurt Russell was a child actor. In his first role, he plays his bit part in this Elvis Presley movie, and his only part he plays is he like has to kick Elvis Presley in the knee. He's like mad at him.
Kurt Russell's stuff, like his early Disney movies, like when he was, coming up, like you said, he's a child actor. Like as he got older, like he started doing all these Disney live action movies.
That was pure nepotism too, right? Straight from his dad.
Yeah.
So, Ashley, you're not the only one. Everybody gets into it, through nepotism.
Yeah, I mean, like, if I think back to it, like the actual acting experience I had as a child was pretending to be a boy for many years because that's what everybody expected of me.
Yeah. You were acting the whole time in some ways.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when everybody tells you a boy and you have to be a boy, it's only like a small step to go from there to being a blood ghost.
Such a small step.
You're full of shirts because I want a shirt that just says it's a small step from boy to blood ghost.
Yeah, and also looking back, now that I really look at it, this is the first time I realized that thing was basically the trans girl equivalent of me getting my first period.
If Gibson had only known.
I love it.
I love it.
Don't you when you get your period and like you ruin your shirt because it's just like gushing out your
trans girl vaginas are in the shoulder. That's like the difference between us and cis girls.
Yeah.
Do you have your first ruined piece of clothing? Why, yes, I do.
Which is why
that's why, like, if you see Batman like nibbling on my shoulder,
Nice. Tie that in.
Yes.
David, we are all over the place. We're talking theater. We're talking Batman. We're talking first times. We're talking camp. We're talking being thirsty. Any of that stuff. What do you got?
Okay. I'm just going to tell this and see how you're good. I'm going to see all the hoops you're going to jump through to tie this back in. But,
what I do.
That's David saying, I'm going to do the thing I prepared regardless of anything that's been said.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he prepared it for a reason, y'all.
Yeah, I even barely. But so Danielle is one of my closest friends, and we co-ran a stand-up show for a number of years called. Do you have it? Yeah. Stand-up break-in.
Oh, look at that! Let's make. Hold on.
Look at that. We're so
bigger.
cute. Yay!
Yeah.
There's a reflection, but there it is.
Perfect. Yeah, and I don't know. It was funny because if Danielle and I were going to be on here together, I was just like, what was some the greatest open mic set I've ever seen happened at ours.
Oh God.
We did it was a booked showcase, but on the last Thursday of every month, we would do an open mic. And this guy showed up. He sent me like 1 million emails a day up. And he was just like, hey, is the open mic tonight? And I'd be like, yeah. And he like an hour later, hey, is the open mic tonight? I was like, yes. And like,
always a good sign. Always
right.
A good sign.
And his email address was Henry's Baseball. And and it was just like this company, and I was just like, "Oh, the guy."
To be clear, it's not Henry Baseball. It's Henry's, like as in like Henry's, like apostrophe baseball.
Yeah, he only has one. It's Henry's baseball.
Well, I was just like, "Oh,
talking baseball."
Right. I was like, "This is gonna be amazing," but and I was just like, "Oh, like that's his work email, I guess." But like he sends me like 12 emails, and then he shows up like a half hour after the list like went out, and he comes in like this nice older gentleman, and he's like, hey, where's your parking lot? And I was like I was like, this is in Jamaica Plain, man. And I was just like, there isn't one, but like, it's just street parking, like, do your best, like here's the list and we'll get you up when we can. And he must have left for like an hour and 20 minutes. Like we
thought he wasn't coming back.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, he either was just like, fuck this, or like he legit couldn't find parking and just left. But like, yeah, he comes back, it's like almost 11. And
been circling that whole time.
I don't know what the hell he was doing, but like he did that, and like we would go pretty late with the open mic. Like we would run up against midnight, and like
because we would say you can get through the list, and then at like 11 we would say like no more sign-ups.
Yeah, and he comes back and like he sits in the back or whatever, and like he was one of the last people, and he eventually goes up, and luckily like when I remember this, the room is packed, so like luckily like most of the people stuck around. And this was also at the old Riot Theater location, which some people might know like holds a special place in my heart, but like was just like this little contained echo chamber of a room. But he goes up, and Danielle, please fill in the gaps here, but like he goes up and he seriously just squeezes a whoopee cushion for 4 minutes.
I didn't know what you were going to say, and that's by far the greatest thing you're going to say.
That's all he did.
There are no gaps for me to fill in.
That's it.
Was there a setup?
Like slowly, like as he's doing, just like making eye contact with people.
Yeah.
I would have wet my pants at that point. I would have wet my pants.
Well, that was the thing. Of course,
I would have laughed so hard.
Of course, everybody's fucking dying. Like it was legit the greatest open mic set we ever saw in terms of like decibel level. Like ceiling tiles were falling. Like people were laughing so loud, and like it was like loud enough it drowned out the band playing at the Jeannie Johnson next door for once.
It was so like when he first started doing it, it was kind of like a moment. Like the first few, everyone was like, "Wait, is this?" And then it just kept going, and by the end, it was just like,
well, yeah, it was one whoopee cushion.
It was like one
blowing up.
It was like it literally was like if you are holding in a giant fart and you like let it out like little bit at a time, because like like Danielle said, like fart, and we're like, okay, now he's gonna start talking, and then he just kept going.
Oh, so it wasn't a continuous thing. He would just go and then let there be silence, and then he'd do it again.
He basically he'd squeeze it a little bit, so like a low fart sounds come out, and then he'd squeeze it a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then it was just the most insane thing.
Yeah.
When is his showcase? When is his next show?
Oh my God. I never saw him again.
He never even emailed us again.
He never emailed us again. He never
got
came
out
back.
what he needed to get out of his system. He got it out of his system.
He never came back. I never saw him at any other open mic or show in Boston ever again. And also,
baseball's been dead for 30 years.
No, he when he came,
I was just looking at that. Oh, this is my screen.
He was wearing a T-shirt though, like the back of his shirt said Henry's Baseball.
And I think he had a hat of it too.
He had a hat too.
Probably for this Henry's Baseball Club.
Yeah.
Well, I had to complain for him.
41 years.
Was it this guy, David? Hold on.
Let's not dox the guy.
No. This guy here on the right?
I think it was.
That's him meeting Wade Boggs.
I think it was him, but when we saw him, he had a beard.
Yes.
That's great.
So it was Wade Boggs. It was Wade Boggs.
Yeah, Wade Boggs was there.
I do think that was him. Yeah.
I do I also like the comment that just says, "Go get him, Henry!" Like,
go get him, Henry.
Go get him.
Go kill Wade Boggs.
Oh, see, I heard that as like, go get the baseball cards, which means go hook up with him, basically.
No, but like it was the most insane, like, and we did the show for what, like 3 years?
4 years.
4 years, and like we had a lot of it's just one of my fondest memories running that. Danielle and I had like every night I would go up and I would tell everyone her phone number so that people could send her dick pics. Danielle,
no one ever did.
Never a dick pic. Do you want to tell them about our marriage?
Oh yeah. So the day of like our very first stand-up break-in show in like 2013. Yeah, that's how long ago it was. It was like 2013, 2014. And I think it was 2014. It doesn't matter. But David this is a time when Facebook would let you like change your relationship status without getting the approval of somebody else. Mm-hmm. So I changed my relationship status to married to David Thomas, which in response, all of his friends from Virginia were like, "Congratulations, man!" And like all this other kind of stuff.
All these people from college, like it got like 300 likes, and everybody's just like, "Wow, that's so awesome!" I got messages like, "Dude, that's so great!" Like you met
I also tagged him in the post about our show.
Right, and then I think we kept it for a few months or however long.
You eventually took it down. So you were also dating someone at the time, and you had only been dating her for like a month. So right. I changed it, and then I texted you while I was at work, and I was like, you might want to tell her I did this and that it's a joke. Which she was totally chill with it. She was totally
yeah.
Rachel has a question.
Yeah. Was it David? Was it like 100% congratulations, or was there anyone who's just like, "Yo, man, you two are moving too fast," or like, "Oh no, you just like made a mistake"?
You just moved there.
That was word for word from my father. It was just all congrats. I remember specifically like some messages being like, "That's so cool that you moved up to Boston and met your wife." And I think eventually I was just like, "Yeah, thanks." And then like after eventually then it just like we just changed.
Yeah, we had it up there for a long time. It was at least 6 months. It might have even been a year. But and then eventually, like we took it down, and it was a joke when we were co-hosting together, like, "Oh yeah, like we're married," and then it was a joke like, "Yeah, well, we just got divorced and things like that." And literally for years after, people would still ask, specifically David, like, are you guys still on good terms? Like after were you guys really married? And it got to the point where there was one day somebody asked David this. We were both there, and I think I was like putting the chairs away, and I don't remember who it was asked you. Like, wait, so you guys do you guys ever think about like getting back together?
Yes.
David just goes like, we were never married. I don't know why people think that wasn't a joke. And he was so mad. And I just remember being, why is it so hard for you? Like, why am I not desirable? And the other person there was just like, ah.
We've talked about this. Somebody messaged me like a few months ago being like, why don't you and Danielle just get together? And I was just like, we would fucking kill each other.
Straight up murder each other.
We would. But yeah, it was just such a great show. There was one time I heard Rory Scovel was filming something in Boston, so I DM'd him on Twitter and I was like, do you want to do the show? And he was like, yeah, sure. And he just came by and did like a half hour of the show, and that was amazing. And like, it was just such a weird little room and such a specific location in JP. And yeah, I don't know. That's my story.
Yeah.
No, I love that story. And like, to me, it does tie in a lot because we were talking about first time doing stuff and the crazy things can happen. And clearly I would argue that this was Henry Baseball's first and most likely only open mic. And he had a fart that he had to get out. And and he did.
I would have killed
and he
to have
did.
seen that. I would have killed it.
It was that may have been the same night. It was either the same night or just this just stands out as the two most insane open mic sets. But then one guy, didn't he pull like women's underwear out of his pants and give it to somebody?
He threw it at me.
He threw it at you. Okay.
He handed it to somebody during the show, and then when I was running the tech on his way out, he winked at me and threw it at my face.
Yeah, something about like, hey, I'm hot, here's your underwear or something.
Yeah. His joke was that he had slept with whatever woman he was throwing the underwear at.
Oh, here's your underwear back. That's what
In the
it
crotch of
was.
the underwear was his number.
You
It was
fool! All
Henry's
my
baseball.
underwear are edible.
When he threw it at me, it was like the end of the show, like people were leaving. He was like he thought it would be like funny and a joke, and I caught it and I threw it on the ground behind me, like behind our table. And he's like, "Can I get that back?" And I was like, "No, don't come back."
That's my bit.
I was like, "No, you can't. Don't come back."
Yeah.
It's so funny. It's so funny because like everyone like vaguely understands that like being a woman in comedy is hard, but nobody like knows exactly how hard or to what like nobody's like it would be impossible to imagine that without the personal experience having a stranger throw their panties at you.
Yeah.
There were a couple of people that we told not to come back, mostly because of how they treated me. There were a couple of guys like they'd shake David's hand, they go to shake my hand and like force me into a hug, and I'm like, no, I don't want to hug you. And then there was one guy who would jokingly grab my ass. I'm like, you're never going to be booked here again.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, well, I'll just ask David. I was like, I do the booking.
Right. Also, I don't have any authority in this.
Also, you would also like. I love this idea that like David is always on the guy's side. Like David gets it. David, like you just see it out, you just gotta grab it.
Yeah, it's like no.
I mean, I was texting with the guy beforehand. Definitely do your underwear bits. It's gonna kill.
Oh God, there was one kid too. I don't remember if you were at this open mic or not, but there was a kid. Because for the open mics, we would have like sometimes like high school kids would come and do it. Yeah. And there was a kid who was maybe like 17. He signed up sort of like toward the end. He was like, "This is my first time doing stand up." We're like, cool. Like people are like really supportive. And he tried to do like a terrorism type of joke, like 9/11. He's like, yeah, it's like people weren't afraid before. I don't know why you're afraid now. It's not like these things are new. And he's like, like 9/11. He's like, whenever that was, 2008. Like he was so young that he didn't remember 9/11. And so like at the end of the set, like it was one of those experiences where he's so new and nobody in the audience really knows how to react. It's not funny and they don't want to like applaud him. And then he was like clearly getting mad that people weren't necessarily like laughing. And then he sort of just went on like a tangent and like doubled down on like the terrorism and like racist jokes.
Double down.
Double down on those powers.
I know. We had like one comic after him, and I remember I was hosting that night, And I had to get up on stage like to introduce the next person. All I could say is like, yep. Never forget 2008. Like it was nothing. Like there was nothing for me to use. And then the audience just clapped. And the guy goes, yeah, it was 2008, right? And like the whole room was just like, no.
Yeah.
No, young boy.
It was such an interesting, like, well, because at the time the show started, I had barely been doing any stand-up. I had probably been doing it for like a couple months max. And Danielle had been doing it longer than I had at that point. But like, it was entirely learning by doing. Like, we didn't know what we were doing and we just started this show. And especially, but with the open mic, like, I mean, it was, stuff happens. It's an open mic, but it was interesting sort of just being thrust into it. And it's like, we're the hosts, like, and obviously Danielle having to deal with a lot more shit than I did. But like, it was a really cool, I look back on Subi very fondly.
There is no more of a unearned sense of like belonging or an unearned sense of entitlement than a cis white guy who thinks he's funny. Like totally. it is the height of like there's nothing you can do to that person if they like, you know what I mean? Like they're gonna come and do their thing and you can be totally. Like, oh, that's not funny, but you're not gonna listen to me if I tell you that's not funny. You're gonna tell me to shut up because you don't think I'm funny if that's right. Not like
they know how it's gonna go before they do it.
Yeah, and then if it doesn't go that way, it's everybody else's fault, right? They're like, well, right. So it's like, oh man, there's nothing you can do other than sort of say you're not getting booked again.
I'm just glad Danielle and I are still friends in our divorce.
If the kid had said 2001, would the joke have hit? I mean, was the joke just not funny because he got the biff the year?
No. It would not have in any way, shape, or form. Like you can sort of understand what he was going for, but there's no way for that guy to make that joke funny.
Sure.
Yeah. Lesson learned, well, or not learned, probably.
Not learned.
Lesson not learned.
We never learned anything there.
That's not true. I learned that there are a lot of different Jesus statues in many different colors.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
That was the creepiest room down there.
Ashling, just so you know, it was next to or downstairs. It was next to a place
and they shared a basement space.
Religious figurines, and so there were a lot of Jesus figurines all over the basement.
A lot of porcelain. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, as somebody who performed at Subi twice, I had a lovely time both times. So thank you for creating a venue for up and coming artists. Such as myself and all the other whatever you call us.
Some say Subi was the original 2MB.
Some would say that. Some would say that.
We did a show for pets once, and we were promised we had a third producer who would come and do a variety show once a month with us. One of her, Angela Sawyer, who's fantastic, and she did a bring your pets like stand-up show, and she was like, yeah, there's gonna be lots of puppies. We're like, yeah, we'll definitely be there. And she messaged us afterwards. She's like, I promised you puppies, and I delivered a one-eyed dog and 2 cats that wouldn't leave their owners.
Big swing and a miss.
A bunch of people like, yeah, we can bring our dogs, and they're all like, oh no, we don't want to bring our dogs. And it was just one person with her one-eyed dog and 2 cats.
I love like the implied relationship of having a one-eyed dog and being like, yeah, I can bring my dog there.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, my one-eyed dog. Like, what else can happen to him? I can take him anywhere.
Yeah.
I like the idea of a dog having another seeing eye dog. It's not like, how does it know where it's going?
I mean, Ben, there's a lot of videos, and I know this for a fact. There are a lot of videos of dogs holding the leash, like walking other dogs on their leash.
Yeah. Oh, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. I can already tell I like that. Oh, my friend's cat has a seeing eye cat this in town. See, I love that.
Ooh.
Oh, what? Oh man,
a seeing eye cat.
I feel like I've Googled something about that before because I was curious, and it's like the cat will walk up against the other cat so it knows where they're going.
I
Very
too
cool.
have Googled Tina's friend.
Yeah. We have reached the point of the show. Danielle, you were sort of telling a story there with David. You were going back and forth.
Yeah.
I don't want to deny you your own story though. If you had one to tell, do you have a story or?
I mean, Ben, the only story I was going to think of, this will take 2 minutes because not a couple weeks ago, so we went on vacation a couple months ago. Ben was there. We were talking about like new stuff we tried. And one thing about me is whenever I know that I'm going to get it all fucked up, I make sure to stick with the people who I know have food. It's just a thing that I do. And when we were there, some of us did shrooms, me being one of those people. And I remember
Not me being one of those people.
Right. Ben was not one of those people. And Ben, I'm going to tell you what I remember from that day that I assume is accurate, which is probably not. But I made a grilled cheese with the mushrooms in it, ate them. And I ate them before everybody else because for some reason, drugs take a longer time to hit me usually. But it didn't take that long. And I was pretty soon very high. And I remember looking out the window and seeing the trees wave at me, which was awesome. And we were watching Jeopardy. And like, that was the thing that was grounding me. And the thing about me watching Jeopardy while on shrooms is I thought I was yelling out answers. And I also thought they were all correct. And that was the thing that was grounding me, was watching Jeopardy. And it was the streak with Austin Rogers from like 2017. And be like, that guy's kind of funny. I'm going to be smarter than him. And didn't matter what the question was, but I thought that I was shouting out correct answers to every question.
I'm killing it.
Yeah, basically, I was like, oh yeah, I'm killing this.
Yeah.
And then the other people that were with us that had done mushrooms like went outside and were doing hot tub things. And I just remember thinking, Ben and Michelle have crabs. Like, not crabs.
Food.
You heard it here first, folks.
I too have thought this.
Jesus.
I just remember Ben and Michelle said something about crabs. They have food. And I don't remember if I got, by hanging out with you, I don't remember if I got to eat crab legs or crab cakes. But I remember eating something with you. And like, I also, when we were there, Ben, I had my Sudoku book with me. And at some point in time, I don't know when, and I don't know where the book is here, but I found this like 2 weeks ago. I wrote in my Sudoku book, like I have a half-done puzzle, and in my Sudoku book, I wrote, "Fuck you, idiots! I got to eat crabs."
They were crab cakes that we had made. Not any other kind of crab. They were crab cakes, and yes, Danielle's the only one who got to eat them besides Michelle and I because she was still inside. And it was so much fun. That was so much fun hanging out with you. You were watching Jeopardy. I was sitting next to you. You were yelling out most of the answers, and I would say most of them were correct.
Really?
Most of them, yeah. You were doing pretty well. But I did turn to you at one point, and you just went, "This is my anchor." And I was like, "Cool, let's just keep watching Jeopardy." Like, totally. And that was fine. We all need an anchor sometimes. So what a great story! Love the summer fun times.
Summer fun times.
I love the note in the Sudoku book. I love this idea you're in your head that you made. You're like, I'm communicating with all these people. They're all going to read the Sudoku book and feel ashamed and less than. They're going to know what page it's on, and they're all going to read it like maybe one at a time, or maybe they're all assembled around the Sudoku. And they're all going to say, "What fools were we?"
Yeah, just fuck you idiots. I got to eat crabs.
Oh, man.
Well, now everybody in the chat knows that you got to eat crabs, so basically it got fulfilled.
Yeah. So suck it, everybody else, idiots. Danielle got to eat some crabs. That's it. We have reached the point in the show where Rachel. Did you? No, Rachel's saying no. Sometimes Rachel's tweeting, and we'll go over the show in tweets. But I don't think we have enough tonight or whatever. But Yes,
I
Rachel.
I will say that I was like starting to type something, and then someone's like, "What's that loud typing? Who's typing so loud?" And then I'm like, I can't fucking do it. Also, I was just very engaged with the show in a way.
Yeah,
I was present, but also my typing was too loud. So
it was loud
Your
typing.
keyboard
so
was
glad.
mic'd. Your keyboard was mic'd. Yeah.
my keyboard was mic'd.
Well, yeah, we don't have it, but we can do our own little summary. Matt started us off by talking about summer camp and being an inspiration and just a fun time, right? It looks scary, or it might be scary at first, and then by the end, you don't want it to end. That's a really fun thing. Rachel then went into her story about Batman and oral sex, and how he's not a true hero in my mind now. And so I can't wait for the other, and I'm sure it might have already happened, but if they were smart, like Marvel would be like, Wolverine definitely eats pussy. Like they would put it like out unequivocally, like they would like Captain America definitely, right? Like whatever it was. If they're smart, they will do that. Aisling told us about her first time on stage and about how she was a blood ghost and how much fun that was, and how she felt like she'd been acting for a while anyway. So it really wasn't as hard as it could have been. And then David and Danielle told us stories about stand-up break-in and all sorts of maybe the person who had the greatest stand-up set of all time.
Henry's Baseball.
Henry's Baseball. Everybody follow him on Twitter. And yeah, what a fun show. Really fun to talk to everybody. Really fun to hear the stories. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for hanging out with us. If you liked what you watched, feel free to support us. We have a Patreon at Patreon/2MB Studios. You can like and subscribe right here on the channel. We got shows 7 days a week. And we have a couple other ways that you can support us that Rachel, I think, is going to throw into the chat to let you all know how you can help us to keep this content coming at you. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Thank you so much to the guests, Matt, Rachel, Ashley, David, Danielle. Thank you so much for being on the show. Until next time, that was What's Going On. Goodbye.
Bye.